Can you remember the last time you made something and not for work? Not because somebody asked, and not because you were trying to be productive or trying to build a brand or even trying to build an audience. You just made. Because I know I've been having some trouble with that. And if you can't remember either, then this video may be for you. So I watched a creator by the name of CineKick. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but it will be in the description below. And that video asked me a question I haven't been able to stop thinking about. What if the thing you're avoiding right now, the project, the art, the video, the song, what if that's the thing the world is missing? Make Something is about 30 minutes long, but it's one of those videos that doesn't feel like a lecture. You know what I mean? It feels more like a letter. A letter to anyone whoever wanted to make something, whether it be art, music, a video, a story, heck, a funny cat sculpture, a board game, a garden, literally anything. But they didn't know where to start, or even worse, they knew where to start and just couldn't. CineKick is an artist and an animator who worked in TV and video games. And he opens up the video by saying something that is so simple and so obvious. He says, without someone to create, there is no creation. Everything human around us, the industries, the social media, the language, literally everything exists because someone made something. And I know that sounds like, well, duh, Sean, but stay with me, because he's not making a history argument here. He's making a personal one. He's saying the world doesn't get more music, the world doesn't get more art, the world doesn't get more story or more beauty unless you specifically decide to make something. Not someone, you specifically, you unreplicable, you're one of one combination of thoughts and feelings and experiences. That's the raw material. And right now, it's sitting on a canvas you're too afraid to touch. And I want to walk you through 3 things that he said that grabbed me during that video. 3 things that's helping me reframe my entire relationship with creating. Because these weren't just ideas, they were permission. The same kind of permission I needed when I couldn't get out of bed. The same kind I needed when I was too afraid to sing and use my voice. And maybe, just maybe, the kind you need right now, girl. Here's the first thing CineKick said that hit me. And I mean, girl, it hit me. He said, starting something can be hard. I think the term empty canvas syndrome honestly applies to many things, even outside the visual arts. That's why many teachers say when you want to start to just do it. Empty canvas syndrome. Now, honey girl, when I heard that phrase, I don't know, it just went together. And that's mostly because I've been calling it resistance. I've been calling it procrastination. I've been calling it fear. But empty canvas syndrome, that just sounds different. That's not about discipline, that's about the paralysis of possibility. The blank page doesn't scare you because it's empty. It scares you because it could be anything. And anything is paralyzing. Think about it. When something already exists, let's say a draft or a sketch, a rough cut, you can critique it. You can say, well, this part's good and that part's bad. You can say, let's move this here, cut that. Your brain knows what to do with something that already exists. But when there's nothing at all, when it's just you in the blank screen and your cursor blinking right back at you, because I know I've been there, okay? Look, it's almost like it's judging you. Your brain freezes and there's just nothing to fix. There's nothing to improve. There's only the impossible weight of, what if it's bad? I talk about this in my resistance video. I said that I could lift boxes for 11 hours at my warehouse job, but I couldn't open my laptop for 20 minutes. And I called that resistance. But in CineKick's video, he framed it differently. He frames it as It wasn't that I didn't want to create. It wasn't that I was afraid of failing. It was that the empty canvas felt like a mirror. Every time I looked at that mirror, I saw every video I hadn't made, every song I hadn't sung, every idea I let die in my notes app. The canvas wasn't empty. It was full of everything that I've been avoiding. But let me tell you, here's when Cindy Kick says something that's changing my approach, right? He says, typically, we can very easily give a critical eye to something that already exists, especially if that something is made fast and crappy. It can give a starting point, then that can move to critique and improvement. Made fast and crappy, but on purpose. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to make something bad? Not good enough, not, oh, I'll fix it in post. Bad, deliberately, intentionally, unapologetically bad. I spent so much time refusing to make anything that I felt was bad or that I didn't like. I wouldn't hit record unless I knew that everything was going to be as polished as I can make it. I wouldn't sing unless I knew I can hit every note. I wouldn't write unless I knew the script was tight. And the result was that I did nothing. I made nothing. For months at a time, honey girl. Because the bar was so high that the only way to clear it was to just not jump at all. But Cindy Kick says the answer isn't to lower the bar. The answer is to make something fast and crappy on purpose. Not because you're settling, because you're starting. Because a bad draft gives you something to edit. A bad take gives you something to adjust. A bad first attempt gives you a starting point. And a starting point is all that you need. A canvas isn't asking for your best work. It's asking for your first work. And those are two different things, okay? I said in my 0 views video that recognition is a lagging indicator. It only shows up after you've done the work. Well, here's the other side to that. The work only shows up after you've made a bad version. The bad version is the bridge between the empty canvas and the thing that you're actually proud of. Okay, girl, let's talk about the second thing. And I expected him to say something like, just start, don't think, just do it. And yes, he does say that. But he also says something that I didn't expect. He says, I personally recommend research. Research is the opposite of what every guru tells you. They say, just start. They say, done is better than perfect. They say, stop thinking and start doing. And yes, there's truth in all of that. But Cindy Kick says something more nuanced. He says, if the empty canvas is paralyzing you, research can be the bridge. Not research instead of creating, research as the beginning of creating. And here's what hit me so hard about that. I spent 2 months in bed. And yes, girl, I talked about this. For 2 months, I did nothing. I could not get out of bed. I couldn't open my laptop. And I just could not explain why at the end of the day. And during those 2 months, do you know what I was doing? I was consuming. I was watching videos, scrolling through other people's work, and I told myself it was just procrastination. I told myself I was just avoiding. But what if that was research? What if my brain was gathering materials? What if the videos I watched during those 2 months, the ones that made me feel something, the ones that stuck with me, the ones I could not stop thinking about, what if those are the raw ingredients for the things that I'd eventually make? Now, honey, I'm not giving you permission to scroll for 2 months on your phone and call it research. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that Cindy Kick made me reconsider what counts as creative input. Because he says something in that video that I need you to hear. He says everything is derivative of something. Artists learn from masters, artists learn from nature. We understand symbols and ideologies from even how we grow up. These things are important as we grow and learn. Everything is derivative. Your ideas didn't come from nowhere. They came from the books you read, the movies you watched, the songs that made you cry, the conversations that changed you, the pain that shaped you. And when you research, when you go back to the things that moved you, and you study why they moved you, you're not copying, you're gathering. You're building a vocabulary all of your own expression. Cindy says, find subjects you admire, then try to imagine how you would make them better. Try combining your favorite parts of different things you love and make them into something that feels perfect and new to you. Now, once again, let me ask you another question. What if the thing you've been wanting to make isn't hiding inside you, just waiting to be discovered? What if it's already around you, scattered around the things you love, waiting for you to gather the pieces and put them together? What if creative genius isn't innovation? What if it's combination? I like to think about my own channel. I talk about personal growth, I talk about resistance, I talk about my depression and boundaries and fears and singing. I talk about them in a way that sounds like me. I try to keep it as real as I can. I use my words like Miss Honey Girl, Miss Ma'am, yes, you better work, girl. Not because I invented the style, because Honey knows I certainly did not. It's because I'm combining things that I love. The vulnerability of the creators I admire, the sass of the woman who raised me, the philosophies of the books that I read, the rhythm of the music that I sing. I didn't create those ingredients. I arranged them. And the arrangement, the specific way I put them together, that's the thing no one else can replicate. So research isn't the enemy of originality. Research is the originality. It's the act of gathering the pieces of the world that speaks to you and saying things like, these are mine. And when I put them together, they become something that only I could have made. The question isn't whether you have something to say. The question is whether you've gathered enough to say it in a way that is yours. And that leads me to the third thing, the hardest thing, the thing that should sit with all of us. Because Cindy says something in the video that I need to read to you. He says, though ironically, it is important to not get overly obsessed with research. I think it can sometimes turn into a hole that seems close to infinitely deep. And the important thing to recognize when it's worth beginning something instead of spending eons planning on how to begin something. Because Honey Girl, Miss Ma'am, look. I am that person that he is describing, okay? I am the person who researches on how to start instead of starting. I am the person who watches 47 tutorials on how to edit before I even open up the editor. I am the person who reads 12 articles on how to structure a script before I write a single word. I am the person who prepares to begin for so very long that beginning never actually happens for me. And Cindy names this. He says, if you feel like you're researching or preparing needlessly, extra, or even over a couple of months, gosh, heck, even over a couple of years, over the fear of beginning something, that's when it's worth taking the initiative in just starting. Months or years. Honey, and if I could be honest with you, I have years of ideas sitting in my notes app that I've just never started. Not because they were bad, because I'm still researching, I'm still prepping, still waiting until I know enough, had enough, was enough to begin. And the waiting wasn't preparation. The waiting was fear wearing a very convincing disguise. I said in my resistance video that resistance thrives in vagueness. It hates being named. Well, here's the name. Perpetual preparation. The belief that you're not ready yet, that you need one more tutorial, one more article, one more course, one more piece of equipment. And honey, I have been there. I told myself that I couldn't start making good videos until I had a better camera. I told myself I couldn't sing until I had my voice lessons. I told myself that I couldn't write scripts until I studied enough storytelling framework. But here's what I'm learning from Cindy video and from my own 192 videos of evidence. You don't get ready to start. You start to get ready. The readiness comes from doing, not preparing. The 192 videos that I have made, most of them with no views, are far from perfect. They weren't the result of me being ready. They were the process of becoming ready. And I'm still actually in it. I'm still becoming. But I wouldn't be here sitting in this chair talking to you about something that actually matters if I had waited until I was ready. Cindy Kick puts it so perfectly, girl. He says, sometimes it's worth taking the jump. All I'm saying is that it's worth maybe reading a bit on how to jump first, looking into the history of great jumpers, and reflecting on your form and intention both before and after doing so. Read a bit on how to jump and then jump. Not after you read everything about jumping, after you studied every great jumper who ever lived, not after you're certain that your form is perfect. Read a bit and then jump, and then after, you jump again. Reflect on your form and then do it again. Alright, the learning happens between the jumps, not before them. I talked about this once again in my resistance video. I said the plan doesn't require perfection. It requires return. You fall off, you get back on. You miss a day, try not to make it too, girl. And I say on day one, it could be embarrassingly small. Open the app, that's it. Then hit record. Even if you delete it immediately, the action itself is the point. It's not about the output. It's about proving to yourself that you are the kind of person who starts. I want to ask you one more thing. What have you been researching on how to start? What's the thing you've been prepping for months and maybe even years that you haven't actually begun? The script you've been outlining but never writing? The song you keep studying but never singing? The videos that you keep planning but never recording? The art you keep admiring but never making? What if the research phase is just over? What if you already have enough? What if the only thing standing between you and the thing that you want to make is the belief that you need more information before you are allowed to begin? Girl, you don't. You don't. You have enough. You've been enough. The canvas is ready. The question is whether, are you? Cindy Kick's video is beautiful and philosophy matters. But if it doesn't change what you do in the next 10 minutes, it's just another video you consumed and called it research. Here's what I want you to try, girl. Not all of it at once, just one thing, baby steps, poquito. First, something bad today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not when you feel ready, girl. Today. Make something fast and crappy and done. A paragraph, a sketch, a 30-second voice memo. Girl, heck, even just a single frame, a verse, a rough cut, it does not matter what it is. It matters that it exists, because once something exists, you can fix it. You can't fix nothing, honey girl. A bad draft is worth more than a perfect idea that never left your hands. The second thing I need you to do is gather your ingredients. Think about the three things: videos, songs, books, movies, anything that made you feel something recently. Not the ones you thought were good, the ones that made you feel. Write them down and ask yourself, what do they have in common? What threads connect them? That thread, that's your creative voice. It's not something you invent, it's something that you find by paying attention to what already moves you. Third, stop prepping. Start jumping. If you've been researching on how to start something for more than a week, a month, a year, hear me clearly. You're not prepping, you're hiding. And hiding feels safe. Yes, because honey girl, so to staying in bed. And I've stayed in bed for 2 months. So I know exactly how safe it feels. And I also know that safety is the most expensive thing that you will ever buy. It costs your voice, it costs your growth, and it costs you the things that you were put here to make. So jump. Yes, jump. Jump badly, jump clumsily with a terrible form, and then look how you landed, and then jump again. Slightly less terrible, slightly less clumsy, and keep jumping, because that is what creating is. Not a single act of brilliance. It's a series of jumps, each one slightly better than the last, each one teaching you something that the last one couldn't. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still afraid of my empty canvas. Every single time I sit down to make a video, there are moments where the screen is black and the cursor is still blinking at me, and a voice in my head says, girl, who do you think that you are? You are not ready. You don't have what it takes. You are not that surreal creator yet. You're just a guy with 21 subscribers and a phone. But I watched a 30-minute video by a creator named CineKick, and he says something that I keep coming back to. He said, without someone to create, there is no creation. Without you, without your specific, messy, imperfect one-of-one perspectives, without the bad drafts, without the clumsy jumps, without the things you've been afraid to start, the world doesn't get it. Not from someone else, but from you. This girl, I think about my own channel sometimes. 192 videos down, once again, most of them with no views, and I used to think that was something about me, that maybe I was wasting time, that nobody cared. But what if those 192 videos, every bad one, every clumsy one, every one that got 0 views, what if they were the jumps, the reps, the proof that I'm the kind of person who does start, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching, okay? CineKick says, I want more people to make more things. It's literally that simple. And honey, that's it. That's the whole video. Make something today. Right now. Not because it'll be good, because it'll exist. And existing is the first step to being good. And being good is the first step to being great. And being great isn't the point. The point is that you made something. And that the canvas isn't empty anymore. That you jumped. So, what are you waiting for? Why are you still sitting here, girl? If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. And tell me, what's the thing you've been researching on how to start instead of just starting? What's the jump you've been prepping for? Name it. I always say, drag it into the light, girl. Beep, bop, boop, 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 beat it up. Because once it's named, it loses half of its power. I said that in my resistance video, and I'm saying it now. Resistance and preparation thrive in vagueness. They hate being named. They hate it. Hit subscribe and stick around, because I'm going to keep exploring these ideas that change us, the fears that block us, and the work that helps us break through. And yes, Miss Honey Girl, we all have something to make. My name is Sean, and I'm here to remind you that you got this, I got this, we got this. And I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.